Hello, my friends, whether you are live or showing up for replay, thank you so much for being here. I have some notes. I want to make sure I cover everything, but before I begin, I want to welcome you to the Creative Connection. I understand from several people who tried to watch the replay from last week that the sound and the video broke up quite a bit. So I'm hoping that I have corrected that problem. If you are live, if you could just say in the chat, yes, we're good, or no, we're bad. Either would be fantastic. And I do want to fill in the gaps because last week I set the foundation for why the Creative Connection. So I am Cindy Thompson, and I am here at the Creative Connection to create a space where creativity, purpose, innovation is soul-driven through story. And I am the founder of Creating a Passionate Life. My intention when I began my business was to help people create the life that they are passionate about living. And so the name of the podcast, Creative Connection, what I shared last week, and I'm going to do the Cliff Note version this week, is I defined why the creative connection. So when I say the word creative, that doesn't mean I am speaking to just the artists out there. I am speaking to those who consider themselves innovator, visionaries, those that come up with the ideas that they share with the world, and people take those ideas and create something and make an impact. It can also be the person like myself who likes to tell stories, is creative. I help others share stories. I sing, I dance, I play a musical instrument. So I am creative. I also write. My first book is about to be published here in the fall. And that was something, believe it or not, I never thought I would ever do. So that too can be creative. Connection. Why creative connection? Because many of us who are visionaries, innovators, or creatives try and do it by ourselves in isolation. But I believe that we are better when we can connect to our core essence inside of us and can be in connection with others, either as collaborators or as colleagues or as connectors to those that need what we have to offer. So that is the Cliff Note version of what I shared last week that I understand was not very legible. Now on to today's episode. Today we are diving into the topic that challenges many of us, whether you are a teacher, a creative, an innovator, a leader, a visionary, or simply someone just trying to make a difference in the world. And that is visibility. So before I begin and dive too deeply, I want to set the foundation for today's topic. Maybe you have asked yourself one of the following questions when thinking of launching a new idea, sharing a new idea, creating a project. And those questions might be, is this my ego craving to do this? Is it craving attention? Or is it me self-promoting? Hey, look at me, look at me, look at what I've got. Look at my great idea. Or is it because I think I'm better than someone else? And that's why I'm doing it. That's why I'm showing up, because I can do it better than them, so I'm going to do it. One could say, maybe I'm doing this podcast because I think I'm better than someone else. Great question. I know that I have asked those questions of myself at various different times in my life. So the question is, have you? So whether you're watching this live or you're watching the replay, I ask that question of you. Have you? Put a yes in the chat if you have. I've already admitted that I have. But what if, and just consider for a moment, what if you're showing up and wanting to be seen in the work that you do, in the relationships that you have, in the passion projects you love to do? What if showing up and being seen is an act of service? So the other side of that question is, what if I didn't show up? How would that impact or affect my community, my work, my family, my relationships? Two very strong questions to consider around the idea of visibility. In today's episode, I hope to break down the myth that visibility is not vanity, and why being seen fully and unapologetically, wholeheartedly, might just be the most generous thing that you can do. Excuse the noise in the background if you're picking up on the sirens. It is Friday in the Pacific Northwest, and it is a beautiful day outside, so I'm sure people are racing to what they want to do. So let us begin with the visibility myth. Visibility is vanity. And I'm going to start with a personal story. A personal story about my business. So for years before I began creating a passionate life, the work that I do, I did for other people. So when I decided to work for myself, to help the people that I help, but to do it on behalf of my own business, I wanted to do an in-person workshop. It was 4 years ago. It was post-pandemic. People were out and about and actually craving being in connection with one another. And I set the date and connected with the city, used a room at a community center, connected with the city for advertising, for reaching out to the community, to helping promote this. And as the day approached, I think I was 2 weeks away, I had only 3 people had signed up. I began to question whether this even made sense to do. Why am I doing this? Should I cancel? Is this a sign from the universe, from up above, that maybe I shouldn't be doing that? Is it even worth it? Now, I was new to running my own business, and so I decided I would take those questions and what was happening inside of me to my business coach. So in my confusion and self-doubt, I asked those questions. Should I cancel? Is this a sign? What have I done wrong? Is it even worth it? And after listening very patiently to me, my business coach stopped and said, "Hey, Cindy, I'd like you to consider for a moment, what if the people that registered, those 3 people that had registered for your in-person workshop, really need what you are offering and you don't show up? What is the cost to them?" Wow. I hadn't thought about that. And in fact, those 2 questions shifted something deep inside of me. And it was no longer about my pride. It was no longer about my fear of failure. It was about those 3 people that had signed up. There was something in what I had presented and offered out into the world that they resonated with and they needed. I had to go through with the workshop. So I finished my preparation. I finished my slides. I finished my handouts. I practiced. I arrived early to the venue, ready to welcome those 3 people that had registered to my workshop. As the appointed hour approached, 1 person showed up. Now, I could have put my tail between my legs and let disappointment take over and throw myself a pity party and tell that person, oh, I'm sorry, there's only 1 of you. I have to cancel. But instead, I remembered this wasn't about me. This was about this person that had signed up and showed up for my workshop. So rather than doing a 2.5-hour workshop with 1 person, I had an hour-long, deep conversation with this person. I was open and I was curious and I asked a lot of questions about why they had signed up. What was it that brought them there? Why had they made this choice? At the end of the hour, they looked at me and said, "Do you offer one-on-one coaching? I think you have what I need." That person had made a courageous decision to sign up, to show up, and to ask for support because they thought that I could provide the support they needed. And I learned something very essential that day. When we show up, even when it's small, even if it's imperfect or uncertain or not what we expected, by showing up, we allow transformation to begin. If I had canceled, that person would not have gone through the changes that I witnessed in the time that I worked with them. Now, this visibility is not only important in the work that we do, it is also very crucial in our personal life. And if I can indulge you for just a little bit longer to listen to one more of my stories, I have a friend who likes to say, oh, she's going to tell a story again. Well, I believe that there is connection and resonance in story. And I believe that story is a way for us to transform and change. So I'm going to take you back a little bit further. I'm going to take you back to my freshman year, my first year at the University of Washington. I will start out by saying in September when I began, I was overwhelmed and heartbroken. See, I grew up in a small town in the Midwest, south of Minneapolis, that had 6,000 students. 6,000 residents. 6,000 residents. And now I had moved 2,000 miles away from those friends and was attending a university that had pretty close to 24,000 students. 4 times as many people attended that university than what lived in my small town. To top that, At that point in time in my life, I was extremely introverted. I was scared. I was unsure how to make friends. I didn't know how to do small talk. I knew no one. And I struggled from day one. Actually, I struggled from pre-day one because my father made sure I had season tickets to the football games, which began 3 weeks before school did. And I had no connection. I showed up, hung out in the stadium, and left. Not talking to a soul. To top that all off, my roommate situation became a revolving door. For the first 2 trimesters at the University of Washington, I went through 3 roommates, not because I did anything wrong, but because they needed someone different than me. My last roommate, although we continued throughout the school year, was not a good fit at all. Sometime in the first trimester, I met a young man who became my boyfriend for the whole year, nearly. He decided in May on our birthday, yes, we shared a birthday, but we were a year apart, to break up with me. And I was lost and alone again. I was heartbroken. I was lonely. I didn't know anyone. I didn't know what to do. So shortly after that occurred, in one of my classes where I always sat in the same spot, and so did the young woman that was sitting next to me, she always sat in the same spot. I never talked very much with her other than about the class. I turned and shared with her what had occurred, what had happened, my roommate situation, my boyfriend breaking up with me. And she listened without judgment. She just listened. And then said, "Why don't we be roommates next year?" I said, yes, of course. At least I knew her. It was a known quantity. That fall, she was an extrovert to my introvert. She took me around and introduced me to all the people she had met the first year at school. And after going to the boys' cluster across the hall from where we were, she stopped me and whispered and turned and said, "I like that guy." I said, "Great. I am not interested in boys this year. I had my fill of them last. I need to get my grades up." Well, as life and the universe had different plans for me, that guy and I became fast friends. We had lunches together. We did other things together with the group. And then a couple months later, we became more than friends. We became a couple. And I'm happy to say that today, August 1st, 2025, we have been married for 41 plus years. All because I showed up and shared my truth and my struggle with another person that created a connection to someone who became my soulmate, my lifelong partner. So the question I have for you is, what exists in your life today because you chose to show up? Is it a relationship, a friendship? Is it a job? Is it something that you've created, you've written, you've created with some other form of creativity? But if you had not shown up, it would not exist. Here's a harder question. Is there anything that you feel like you missed because you didn't show up? And I don't want you to dwell on that. I just want you to consider that for a moment. Now go back to the other. What is in your life today because you made the decision to show up? So, as is the case, when you meet that significant other, if it's the right person, a family is created. And I am happy to say that we have had 4 dogs, 5 cats, 3 sons, and we presently have 1 daughter in law. And we have acquired all of their friends as an extension of our family. All because I decided to show up and share my truth and struggle with another person. I decided to be seen. I decided to say, this is who I am. So these stories, mine and my clients, are the foundation for a program I created called Rooted in You. And in that program, I help people strengthen their presence, their ability to show up. I help them expand their energy, their capacity to be in relationship and connection with themselves and with others. And the result is they're able to walk into rooms that they thought they were never going to be able to, with courage, confidence, and clarity for why they are there. It is only for those that are ready to move forward, to be seen, not out of ego, but from a place of grounded self, grounded service, and grounded soul. So a part of that program are some practices, and I'd like to share one of them with you right now, if that is all right, if you will humor me. If you don't have time for this right now, perhaps you're driving, whatnot, come back to this and do this. Maybe listen to it now and come back and do it later. I think that you will find something special for yourself in the process. You will need a journal and something to write with, or a piece of paper, or even the notes section of your phone, if that is who you are. I do have some clients that that's how they take notes. That's how they remember the things that we work on. Once you have those, I want you to settle into your chair, back straight, and close your eyes or lower your gaze and soften it. And we're going to start by getting grounded. Make sure your feet are on the ground, your back is upright, and take a deep breath in. And release all the air out through your mouth. In through the nose. And out through the mouth. And one more time, and this time sigh on the exhale. In through the nose. And then take a couple more breaths at your own pace, with or without a sigh. And while your eyes are still closed, I want you to consider the following question. Where in your life are you craving to be seen? Breathe in with that question. Where in your life are you craving to be seen? Now gently open your eyes and pick up your pen or your phone. And I want you to start writing whatever comes up. And I don't want you to filter it. I don't want you to edit it. I just want you to write. Flow of words. Flow. Breathing all the way through. And if you start to notice some tension somewhere in your body, breathe into that tension. Where in your life are you craving to be seen? Where in your life are you craving to be seen? Keep writing. Don't edit. Don't try and fix. Don't judge. Just write. And if you start to feel tension, just breathe into it. Where in your life are you craving to be seen? Finish up the words that you're writing. Put your writing implement down. Put your phone down. And take a look at what you wrote without judgment. There's no right or wrong answer. There's no perfect answer. There's just what you wrote. And I want you to consider, what area of your life is it in that you are craving this? Is it for you personally? You're craving to be seen for yourself? Or are you craving to be seen in relationship with others? Maybe a significant other, a special friend, a community, at work? Or are you craving to be seen in your family? Where are you craving to be seen? And as you look at that space and what it is that you're craving, consider the question, what would being seen in that space look like? What would it feel like? And take just a moment and jot a couple of those things down. What would it look like, and what would it feel like? Take just a moment to do that. Breathing deeply all the way, just in case tension and butterflies are popping up for you, because this is scary, maybe. Now put your pen down and close your eyes again. And breathe deeply. Nice big breath all the way into your belly. Make your belly stick out and then release it. And again. And again, release. And then find a natural pattern for your own breathing, making sure that it's full and deep and rich. And with your eyes still closed, I want you to recall a moment in your life when you felt joy and ease and connection, true connection. Where in your life do you recall experiencing joy and ease and true connection? Where were you? Who was with you? What were you doing? What did it feel like in your body? Was it tingly? Did it feel like you were floating on air? What did it feel like in your body? And in that moment, when you were experiencing that joy and ease and true connection, were you being seen? Were you being heard? Were you being acknowledged and honored for who you are at your core, in your essence? And if you have not already, gently bring a smile to your lips and let that memory wash over you. Feel it from the tip of your toes to the top of your head, to the tip of your fingers, and everywhere in between. Perhaps this memory shows you a time when you were visible and not because of vanity, but in alignment. You were visible because of love, true connection and love. Let that wash over you. Acknowledge that you have experienced this. Taking a deep breath and slowly opening your eyes and coming back to this space. Hopefully still with that smile on your face. I invite you to come back to this reflection over the next couple of days and sit with the truth of what it means to be seen. Not for applause, not for your ego, not because you think you're better, but because of love, because of impact, because of connection. And as a thank you for showing up today, I've created a visibility reflection journal, and you can find it in the notes. There's a link for the download of that resource. It is filled with prompts for you to continue to guide your way through this journey of finding authentic presence so that you can show up. It is also a great way to start the journey of rooted in you. If this has touched you in some new way and you're feeling called to take perhaps the next step to discover more, I'd love to hear your story. I've already shared the story I believe is what brings us together and what helps us transform. It helps us become connected. It helps us feel like we belong. Then let's connect for a free 30-minute complimentary clarity connection call. I will explore with you what may be holding you back from fully showing up. And I believe I have put that in the show notes as well. And if I notice that I have not, I will add it. As we prepare to sign off for today, I want to thank you so much for being here, for being present, even if it is as a part of the replay. And I want to give you a hint for next week because I'm really kind of excited for the next couple of weeks. I shared at the beginning that I will be interviewing and having guests on for the next couple of weeks. And next week's is perhaps the most special person that will be joining me. And that is my husband, Dan Thompson. That gentleman that I mentioned that I have been married to for 41 plus years. In addition to that being a reason why he is special, he is a seasoned clinical psychologist who is a certified Gottman method couples therapist. He is an advanced rational emotive behavior therapist. I had to write this down so I didn't mess it up. And Dan and I are both certified in the art of presence, art of feminine and masculine presence. And we are facilitators for the 7 principles of making marriage work. And we love, separately and together, to create innovate and play together on stage as performers, acting in plays and musicals, backstage creating music. He is a drummer, he's a skilled drummer, and I like to direct. And our 3 adult sons who we play with, we innovate with, we have fun with, and their partners and friends who are, as I shared earlier, all an extension of our family. Together, we are going to be exploring a topic that I think some of you may be interested in. We're calling it for now Rooted, Revitalized, and Rising: the Power of Presence, Renewal, and Real Relationships. We will honestly and from a heart-centered place have a conversation. We'll explore what it means to reconnect to yourself first and stay present in the moments that matter so that you can cultivate relationships, whether they be with a significant other, which my husband has a lot of experience with, or if it's in a workspace, which I have a lot of experience with, or in community together, and that is something we do together. And as you cultivate these relationships, are they rooted in truth and care? It is our intention to share how presence and renewal allows us to rise, not through the hustle, not through pushing, but in deep connection and out of love. You don't want to miss it. I know I don't. I very rarely get to do this with him, but we will both be in Colorado together next week. So we're going to have the opportunity. So you don't want to miss it. And until then, I wish you good blessings. I want you to keep creating new ideas, new works, new relationships. Keep leading in all areas of your life, your family, your relationships at work, and keep showing up with courage so that you can have confidence and clarity in all that you do. If you liked this, please share this with your friends. Subscribe. I will do a new episode every Friday. In the next several weeks, I will be having a guest with me. We will be talking about very interesting topics that are juicy and have to do with the creative connection. Have a blessed Friday, a fabulous weekend, and I will see you next week.